Have you ever opened your banking app and felt your stomach tighten? That instant fear before the numbers even load? Now imagine opening the same app and feeling calm. No panic, no mental math, no wondering if today's coffee will mess up your week. That calm doesn't come from being rich. It comes from crossing one very specific financial line, and it's not six figures, and it's definitely not $1 million. Most people believe wealth starts when you earn more. But in reality, wealth starts when your mind stops panicking. Today, I want to talk about the single most important money milestone almost no one talks about. Your first $20,000, not because it makes you rich, but because it changes how you think, how you decide, and how you live. If you care about real financial freedom, not hype, not shortcuts, make sure you subscribe. This video might completely reframe how you see money. Why most people never feel safe with money. When people talk about money problems, they usually talk about income. I don't earn enough. If I just made more, everything would be fine. But that's not the real issue. The real problem is mental scarcity. When you're living paycheck to paycheck, your brain is constantly under pressure. Every bill feels urgent, every purchase feels risky, every mistake feels dangerous. Your brain isn't thinking long-term. It's thinking, how do I survive until next week? That's not a failure of discipline. That's biology. Psychologists call this survival mode. And in survival mode, your brain is terrible at planning, investing, and thinking clearly. You accept bad jobs. You stay in toxic situations. You say yes when you want to say no, not because you're weak, but because fear is driving every decision. The first financial threshold. Money doesn't change your life in a straight line. It changes your life in levels. There are invisible thresholds where your behavior suddenly shifts. And the first real one is $20,000. Think of it like pushing a heavy object uphill. At the beginning, every push feels exhausting. Progress feels invisible. You constantly wonder if it's worth it. But once you reach the top, momentum takes over. $20,000 is that tipping point. Before it, money feels fragile. After it, money starts feeling stable. Not because you're rich, but because you finally have margin. The psychology shift. Here's the part most people don't understand. The power of $20,000 is not the money itself. It's what happens inside your brain. When you have no savings, your mind focuses on threats. You react instead of plan. You choose safety over growth. But once you have a solid buffer, your questions change. You stop asking, what if something goes wrong? And you start asking, what's the smartest move from here? Even a small emergency fund can dramatically improve financial well-being, not because it pays for everything, but because it gives your brain room to breathe. At around $20,000, roughly 3 to 6 months of expenses for many people, fear loosens its grip. You're no longer drowning, you're floating, and that changes everything. Why compounding finally feels real. Let's talk numbers, but in a way that actually makes sense. Early on, investing feels pointless. A few dollars of growth doesn't change your life, but scale changes the experience. A small percentage on a small amount feels invisible. The same percentage on a larger base starts to matter. That's why the first $20,000 feels slow and painful, but every milestone after it comes faster. Your money begins to share the workload. At that point, growth isn't just from your paycheck. Progress isn't just from effort. Momentum starts to exist. This is where people say, wow, this actually works. Not because they discovered a secret strategy, but because math finally has something to work with. Before $20,000, unexpected expenses feel like disasters. Car repair, panic, medical bill, stress, rent increase, fear. After $20,000, those same events feel annoying, but manageable. That emotional difference is enormous. And here's the bigger shift. You stop seeing only problems and start seeing options. A skill you could learn, a side project you could fund, a career move you could afford to risk. Money doesn't create opportunity. It allows you to act on opportunity. That's what people mean when they say money attracts money. It's not magic, it's optionality. Why you stop obsessing over small expenses. Something strange happens once you're financially stable. You stop caring so much about tiny purchases. Not because you're reckless, but because you finally see what actually matters. Instead of debating coffee versus homemade brand versus generic. Every small expense, you focus on housing decisions, income growth, investment consistency, long-term strategy. Small decisions feel loud when you're broke. Big decisions shape your future when you're stable. That mental clarity is freedom, the biggest mistake people make. Here's the trap. Many people reach $20,000 and immediately destroy it. They celebrate too early. A new car, an expensive upgrade, a lifestyle jump they can't sustain. But $20,000 isn't a reward. It's a foundation. It's the seed that grows into freedom if you protect it. Spend it carelessly, and you're back to survival mode. Protect it, and it compounds into something much bigger than money. Conclusion: $20,000 won't make you rich overnight, but it will. Quiet financial fear. Sharpen your decisions. Expand your options. Rewire your habits. Change how you experience life. It's the line between reacting and designing. Start building that foundation, slowly, patiently, intentionally. Your future self isn't asking for perfection. They're asking you to start. How $20,000 changes your career. This part is huge and rarely discussed. Savings change how you show up at work. When you're broke, you negotiate from fear, you tolerate bad conditions, you avoid risk. With $20,000, you gain walking away power. Not because you plan to quit, but because you can. That confidence shows. You speak differently. You carry yourself differently. You stop acting desperate. Ironically, this often leads to better opportunities, more respect, higher income. You don't need to use the safety net. Just knowing it's there changes everything.